talk about three amazing trees. Seems like I'm always talking about trees, except when I'm talking about Roundup or compost or trolls on the internet that I want to shame on my channel. Oh yeah, and I love this thing. This is the new guitar. This is the new old guitar that was broken into bits and then saved by Mr. Cop at Full Circle Music in Fort Lauderdale. He said that I understood it and he was happy to sell it to me at a good price. What a beautiful but bizarre instrument. Very strange. No name on it. Jazzy. Sounds cool. Goes out of tune a lot faster than the Taylor though. Yep. It's alright though. It covers my singing. How you guys doing? Let's see who's here tonight. Nancy, Leaf, Ecocentric Homestead, La Rue OBR 5.56. Let's see. Hugh, Natasha, Mars. Hey, nice to see you, man. Blessed Hands 420 newbie. Hey, that's quite a name. Jan, Deanna. Yeah, you know what? I got something to share with you guys about Roundup. Let me see if I can find it. Oh man, I gotta make sure I saved it in the right spot here. Here we go. Yep, just a second. I was gonna. Speaking of Roundup ads. Oh yes. Let's see what we have here. All right. Okay, so I did that little bit on Roundup the other day. Get a little more light over here. A little bit on Roundup the other day, and I posted the post to my website, and guess what? I have ads that run on thesurvivalgardener.com because that's one of the ways I pay for the hosting and pay for guitars. So this ad here down at the bottom, one of my readers sent to me and said, David, I was on your site and look at what ad popped up. Tested for 40 years, approved for 40 years, used safely for 40 years. Roundup glyphosate product facts. Learn more. Facing the big guns. So what am I gonna do? Turn down the ad money? No, of course not. I'll bring it up on my stream and then I'll complain later. Complain to my ad placement company. Every once in a while you just got, the gardening world is run by gigantic companies. And then there's you and me. So anyhow, yeah, that brought that up. Fortunately, we have people like Austin. This is from Austin and Jean's channel. Notice the shirt that he's wearing here. This is a freeze frame from a video that was just posted over on his channel. I put a link below. Folks like this are going to save the world. Go watch the video. It's hilarious. It's awesome. So, go just click over there and watch this video or bookmark it and watch it afterwards. So today, we are going to talk about three amazing trees. I don't even know what a pike ad is. Pike? Misguided Mind Bolt says, I got a pike ad. I know, the fish with the crazy teeth. Watch out, I don't want a pike to show up and advertise on my channel. And pike are kind of scary looking. Alright, so today we're going to talk about three amazing trees. And earlier on here, like before I even started, I got this comment here from LaRue OBR 5.56 saying, guessing these trees won't grow here in Nebraska. Well, fortunately, this live stream is it's for guys, those guys of you that live all the way from Miami to Canada. Because the trees I'm going to talk about, some of them are so adaptable, not all of them, But 2 out of these 3 you can at least grow a variety way farther than you might think. So let's start with this tree right here. If any of you guys went to the South Florida Food Forest talk that I did a couple of weeks ago, this tree right there was just a bundle of sticks. It was pretty pathetic looking because it was dormant, and the reason it's dormant is because it thinks it's up north and it went to sleep. So it's not up north anymore, and it will fruit. It's probably fruiting right now actually because it was just about to break dormancy. But this right here is a black mulberry tree. Let's look. Oh, so this tree has become, over the years, one of my very favorite trees of all time. This tree gets a bad rap. Some people say mulberries taste bland. Some people say that mulberries will destroy white carpets. Both of these things can be true. But fortunately for mulberries, there are all different varieties, including very delicious varieties. So the person that said, I had mulberries and they were bland, chances are that is the red mulberry, which is North America's native mulberry. It's called the red mulberry. However, the fruits look pretty black. I mean, they're like a dark purple, not really red. It's got kind of a nice light bark. It's a pretty tree. It can get very big, but it's not really been bred for great fruit. It's a tree. You might get some and you go, oh, that's a really good one, and then other ones you might be like, well, that was those things tasted a little bland, and they sort of taste a little overripe from the tree. Sometimes they have almost like a slightly fermented flavor to them, and you go, it's not very good. You know what? I don't like mulberries, and a lot of us do that. If somebody gave you a Seville orange and said, this is citrus, try this citrus, and you try it, and I mean, like the oil in it, the oil in the peel, like I once bit through the peel on one of those to get to the inside because I wanted to see how sour it was, and my mouth stung. There was so much citrus oil just in the peel that my lips were burning for like 20 or 30 minutes afterwards. And the inside of it is really sour. It's like a marmalade orange. And the same thing is if you try to calamond and that was your first citrus, you'd say, citrus, I hate citrus. Or if you got a kind of a bland grapefruit. You ever have a grapefruit that's more bitter than flavorful? I've had some of those, and you go, that's a terrible fruit. Then, what if your first citrus though had been a nice, ripe, perfect tangerine? The tangerine flavor is just explosive. It's beautiful. It's wonderful. It's great. Or if you had lemonade, you'd say, oh, that's really good. And then you start to find the niches, and you find the ones that you like, and you find the ones that you don't like. Some of my kids love oranges, but don't like grapefruit. My wife loves grapefruit juice, but orange juice, she's like, it's kind of too sweet. I prefer grapefruit juice. So with the mulberries, there are good ones, and there are okay ones, and there are ones that you're going to like and somebody else might not like. So let's look at a few mulberries. First, actually, you know what? I'm going to tell you why this tree is so amazing. If you've grown berries before, like raspberries, blackberries, blueberries, strawberries, just garden berries, a lot of them take a decent amount of work. Some of the raspberries and blackberries will just tear you up. They're brutal, like they're just full of thorns, and they're not fun to grow. And then you have to, you've got your primo canes and your pseudo canes and hurricanes and all those canes, right? And you're supposed to prune these ones back, and then these are going to grow and fruit the next year, and this is like this, and this is like this, and you prune them like this, and you move them like this, and you got to make sure that they're well fed, and this and that and the other thing. Now, there are some places where you can grow really, really great blackberries. North Florida, we had some decent varieties of blackberries, but it's not really blackberry country. There's some good stuff from University of Arkansas, has multiple good varieties. They're named after Native American tribes, Arapaho, Ouachita, things like that. There's some good varieties, but they're kind of a bit of work, and the canes are all rambly and all over the place. Some of them are thorny, some of them are thornless, And sometimes you get the berries and it's like, you know, that's not really that great. It's a great big berry, but conditions weren't that great this year and it's not particularly sweet. You know, my hair, what is my hair doing? It's like it's deliberately getting worse on camera. It's like what in the, I feel like I should just go with it. It's my brain that everyone's here for, right? It's not my looks. It's my personality. All right, so the varieties of blackberries, great. Blackberries are worth growing. But, you know, they take a little work. Raspberries, same thing. Blueberries, oh, you got to get that acidity right. And you're in blueberry country, right? Some places you can just grow great blueberries, and they're so good. But a lot of times, you're kind of fighting. If you've got normal pH to your soil, you're fighting to grow those blueberries. It takes a while for them to get going. It takes a few years, and then you start getting blueberries. Some places are blueberry country. Some places aren't. So strawberries. You guys done strawberries? I don't like growing strawberries. I mean, I like strawberries. I think they're great, but man, the amount of work with weeding, and then you're supposed to cut the runners to increase fruit production, not let them get too tight. I had a couple of beds of strawberries in North Central Florida. Somebody's like, well, where you were wasn't really North Florida. It's on the edge of North Florida. So, the strawberries were too much work. I mean, just like it's almost like growing annuals, except you always have to stay on top of them. And then if you're lucky, you get some good strawberries. But man, if you get Bermuda grass or something in your beds, you're just fighting all the time. So I had grown all of these berries at different points, and then I planted mulberries just to see. Oh, mulberry, that sounds cool. I'll grow it. I'll collect any fruit tree. So I planted this Illinois ever-bearing mulberry, and in its second year, I mean, it needed almost no care. I basically just stuck it in the ground, watered it a few times, and ignored it, and it grew like crazy. And it bore me maybe half a gallon of berries the first year when it was a little stick. And, you know, it was just kind of starting to get big. And then the second year, it was a nice tree. It hit like 12 feet in the second year. And I got 6 gallons of berries. That is what I measured off of it, because there were a lot of them that the birds got and the children ate, and we just ate when we were walking around the tree. But what I actually saved off of it and cataloged was 6 gallons. So when I was calculating how many berries that is, it's actually an insane amount. If you go and figure out how much organic berries cost, you know, go to the grocery store. What does a little tray of organic berries cost? Oh, that's $13.76. Yeah, I'll take some of those. No, I mean they're probably more like 4 or 5. But I calculated it out at the current market prices for blueberries and blackberries and that sort of thing. Kind of made an average. And I figured out it was somewhere around $300 worth of berries if you were going to put them all in clamshell cases and sell them as organic. And I was like, okay, this tree, this is my berry tree. And the fruit was delicious. It's a lot like a blackberry, but if there's no pollinator tree, the female mulberries, which are the ones that you buy, if you're getting them from a nursery, they're going to be a female. They don't have any pollinator, they don't make any seeds. So it's like a seedless, sweet, consistently sweet blackberry, very productive, it's ridiculously productive, and super, super, super easy to grow. Plus there are varieties of mulberries that grow all the way from zone 4 to, maybe you could probably push one into zone 3, but all the way to tropical Africa. So there are mulberry varieties for just about anywhere, and it's actually amazing how many varieties of mulberries there are, and how it's really an underlooked fruit. It's very unfortunate how underlooked this fruit is, and how underutilized it is. Look at these mulberries here. Great, big, fat, beautiful mulberries. That's a lot of berries. Now look at this type here. I took this picture. This mulberry here was growing in the back of a car lot. There were like 3 or 4 white mulberry trees. This is a non-staining because it's white, and it has a little bit of a different flavor. It doesn't have quite the flavor that you would expect, unlike the black ones, which have a little different, kind of a little more berry flavor. these guys taste like honey, just like honey right off the, so you pick them and they're ripe and they're beautiful. They don't stain. So these things were planted right over the pathways, like right along the sidewalk. Nobody would ever notice. I mean, probably nobody would have known they were even there if I hadn't come back and said, look at those white mulberries. That's cool. White mulberries. So of course I propagated them and I had them planted in my food forest as well. So there's the white mulberry. Check out these guys. This is a picture from logies.com. I stole the picture from their website, but I put logies.com on the top so I could say, look at this, Logies Nursery. This is a variety that they sell. This is the Pakistan mulberry. This is a long variety of mulberry. It's a very cool looking fruit. There's also a white version of this with white fruits that don't stain. And there are, apparently, the Pakistan mulberries, there are varieties that don't turn your fingers purple even though the fruit is purpley red. Really, really cool. And then, just to add one more weird one, anybody recognize this puppy? Anybody tell me what that is? We got a little bit of a delay on the thread because of my internet, so. Is anybody? There you go! Yes, yes! Justin, Symbiosis Browsy, Paper Mulberry. Mars Ultors is Pom-Pom Tree. So, this is the Paper Mulberry. Salmonberry, Lychee, no, not mango. This is Absolufa. Nice. Hey, Laurie, nice to see you here. Yes, Justin says invasive mulberry all over Florida. If you're in Central and North Florida, even I saw some in South Florida now, which I hadn't seen before. This thing is a pain in the neck. This tree is a relative of mulberry. They call it paper mulberry. It's actually, I believe it's not a Morris. It's a different genus. They've reclassified it, but it's a mulberry relative, and that is an edible fruit. It's a very, very tender, soft, fluffy fruit, and it has a strange, pithy center to it. But those are edible. Probably not really any market value because of the, they just don't transport at all. You pretty much have to pick them off the tree because they'll turn to orange mush. This tree right here is used for fiber, hence the name Paper Mulberry. I went to the Florida Earth Skills gathering some years ago, and there was a fellow there that was stripping the bark off of these things, hammering it out, and showing how to make cordage from it, which was pretty cool but very time consuming. So the mulberry tree, very easy to grow, very easy to keep small. There is a dwarf everbearing type that is now being sold all over the place in Florida. I used to sell it in my nursery. Quite a few people have it now. It's being propagated by one of the big, I think it's AgriStarts in Orlando, propagates it wholesale in small starts for nurseries to buy and resell. So people are, the retail nurseries are growing them up and selling them all over the state. And now that tree will still get like 12, 15 or more feet, but it's more controllable. It doesn't grow quite so vigorously as the big ones. But even the big ones, you can prune them aggressively and keep them low, and they'll often fruit after you prune them again. It stimulates them to new fruit growth. You don't have to worry like, oh shoot, I cut it down. It's not any good anymore. I'm gonna kill it. No, you cut it and it'll just grow back again. Some trees, if you cut them down aggressively, they won't fruit for you the next year. Mulberries don't care. So that's why this tree, with its massive range, huge amount of organic berry production, delicious fruit, multiple varieties that will grow all the way from very cold to right into the tropics, plus the fact that the leaves, some of the leaf varieties are actually edible, some of them are not, generally cooked edible, and mulberries are also really good fodder for animals. So if you have like a hedge system out of them, you can chop them and bring them to your animals on a regular basis. I wouldn't let the goats get into the mulberries because they'll just strip the bark off and all that stuff. But mulberry, there's my tree number 1. So yes, mulberry will grow in zone 7. Justin says 99% of the paper mulberry in Florida are male clones and don't make fruit. Yes, I've noticed you'll only see one in fruit for the many, many, many that are not. Kirsten says, do most berry plants need to be in bigger pots so they can grow to be bushes? I'm doing container gardening. Yes. You should go with bigger pots if you can. You'll get better fruiting, though strawberries are very adaptable to small pots. Like you can cut holes in a barrel, hence the strawberry barrel thing. But, you know, blackberries, raspberries, that sort of thing, I would go bigger. Blueberries definitely like to have some space, and they don't like the roots disturbed. So, you know, plant them into a big pot when they're small and let them go. And make sure that you use blueberry mix in the potting soil or azalea mix, or get a bunch of rotten pine bark chips and pot them into that. So, Mara says, so mulberry is a good tree to plant for someone who's only home 1 week every 2 months. Yes, absolutely. Catch them in the spring. They're fruiting now in Florida. As you go farther north, it comes, you know, they'll bud out, and right after the buds, the fruits start to form all down the branches. It's incredible. Very, very good. You can get tons of it. Miles says, Osage orange is in the mulberry family as well. Yes, it is. And it makes those big, crazy, inedible fruits. But the Osage orange is really, it's got amazing wood. And it's very, very good for bow making. So it's also good for living hedges. During the New Deal, they were planting them out west in hedges. It's pretty cool. I like if I could get another Osage orange, I have no idea if they'd grow down here, but it would be really cool. I've always wanted to grow a few of those just because I think they're beautiful and very strange. But mulberry family also contains figs, jackfruit, you know, your big ficus trees, banyan tree. I mean, it's the broader Moraceae family is very adapted to all over the world. There's a lot of different useful and edible species. So let's go to our next one. Our next tree here is from the Rosaceae family. Now you Floridians know this one. This picture is actually from California. This is a loquat tree, also known as the Japanese plum. Now this tree is such a beautiful tree that it's often grown just as an ornamental. You'll see it in all kinds of like landscape suppliers. It's one of the few fruit trees that I ever see sold for landscape purposes. And for them, the fruit is just incidental. It's just, it is, sorry, I got a message held for review. Deanna says, can I graft figs onto a white mulberry tree? I tried it with a black mulberry tree and they didn't take. They're close, but I didn't have any luck, but tried anyways. They're a bit of a stretch. You can intergraft the various mulberry varieties, but I tried to put, I tried to graft regular mulberry onto paper mulberry and my grafts failed. But if any of you guys want to try that again with different varieties of mulberries, I think it would be awesome to have the paper mulberry as a rootstock if possible, and the whole top of it be a productive mulberry, but it may not be possible because it's a genus over. So the loquat tree, often grown as a landscape tree. And so if you've tried the fruit on them, sometimes you're just like, they're just tart and they have a big pit. Here's your regular loquats, normal loquats. And sometimes, you know, the fruit is like this big, right? And then the pit is like this big, or there's a double or triple pit on the inside. So there's some decent flesh to it, but it's not very fleshy. It's not awesome. The thing is that this tree has, because it's been used in the landscape trade so much, the landscape trade, they don't care about the fruit, right? It's a nice looking tree, so we're going to grow it. The fruit is secondary, but the Japanese and the Chinese have bred better varieties, and so have some people in the United States. It's just hard to get the improved varieties. The southern half of Florida, some nurseries carry improved varieties like Spikes Grove, and there's nurseries in Homestead that carry improved loquat varieties. But you get up to the north and central part of the state, and you almost never see any improved types. It's very unfortunate. Now, you can very, very easily graft loquat trees. So if you have a type with the small fruit and they're a little bit tart and it's like so-so, you know, you can go and you can take pieces. You can get pieces from somebody. Just have them mail you some sticks in the mail. The sticks will keep for like a week or two, and graft them on. And if you look at my Get Grafting demonstration on YouTube, if you haven't seen that yet, I graft a loquat in it. Very, very easy. Now, so here's your regular loquats. Here is an improved variety. Holy moly, look at those suckers. See, now you don't see things like this in the States. These are big, fat loquats. And it's interesting because I had been growing loquats in my food forest, and some of the loquats that I planted, they had what looked like the regular small fruit, but they were ones that I had grafted and planted, and so they looked like the regular small fruit, but the pits inside were tiny. It was almost all plump, sweet fruit, even though it was smaller. So you get a lot more fruit and a lot less to clean out if you're going to make jam or chutney or cook with them or whatever you're going to do, make liquor out of them, I don't know. So if you can get an improved variety, it's really a very legitimately good fruit. It's like if you've only ever had crab apples and you've never tasted a fresh Honeycrisp, you know? That's the situation with loquats right now, is that most of the varieties they're planted for ornamental. They're not a bad fruit, but they're not awesome. Now, I've had some of the big sweet ones, and it's like, wow, this is a legitimately great fruit. It's just too bad that it's not well known. And it's very disease resistant. It's a very attractive tree. The only thing you really have to worry about with them is sometimes they will get the dieback. I'm trying to remember what it's called. It is son of a gun. Why can I not remember it? It's the one that all the like apples and pears and everything get. It's a bacterial disease. One of you guys probably knows. Fire blight. There you go. Thank you, Miles. Like, why can I not remember this? My trees have had it. I've treated it on pears and all kinds. Fire blight. I'm thinking like versicolum wilt. No, that's not it. So yes, fire blight. So what you have to do is if you see them doing this dieback thing, cut them off, burn those branches. Like, cut them off and sterilize your trimmers in between. They are somewhat subject to that, but often they'll just grow for years and years and years and years and years with no problems. So, Brian says, are there improved crabapple varieties? Yes, they are regular apples. Crab apples are just usually an unimproved or a lesser form of regular apples. Now there's some different cultivars, there are some different species that you might call crab apples, but they're pretty much kind of the unimproved forms. Some of them have actually just been bred for blooms instead of for fruit. It's kind of interesting. So, Laura Schwager says, the Get Grafting video was awesome. Thank you, David. Oh, you're very welcome. This is the season for grafting right now for a lot of you, and man, it's so much fun to improve varieties, to make things great, to put a bunch of different varieties on one tree, and I can't believe I was scared of it for so long. So once I finally got into it and started doing it, I was like, you know what, I'm just going to show everybody the really dead, simple redneck grafting that I do, and show you that it really does. You can literally graft with like a utility blade and some masking tape. So, Brian, I haven't had any experience with the native Florida crabapple. I have heard there is one, but I've never seen one. So, all right, let me jump into our next tree. Climb our next tree. This tree also has a huge range depending on which variety you plant. Here we go, guys. This is one of my favorite trees. Look at that. That right there is a persimmon tree. That is actually a Japanese persimmon variety. Yep, you got it. Persimmon. Persimmon tree is a cool, gnarly looking tree with beautiful, delicious fruit. And now the funny thing about this tree, I was carrying different varieties. I had both American persimmons and Japanese persimmons in multiple varieties in my plant nursery. And the funny thing about this tree is how opinionated people are on it. People either love this tree or they absolutely hate it. I was sharing during my food forest talk. This guy came up to my plant booth once, and he goes, "What's this tree?" I said, "That's a persimmon." He goes, "Oh, that is the worst. That is the worst fruit. That is a horrible. I don't know why anybody likes those things. That is the worst thing I have ever tasted. That's a disgusting fruit. You got to be an idiot to grow one of those trees. That's a disgusting, nasty fruit. Turn my whole mouth into cotton. Ugh. I don't know why people grow them." I said, "Well, actually, they're really, really good. They're really, really good when they're fully ripe. And the Fuyu persimmon is actually good before it's fully ripe. It's still decent. It's kind of crunchy like an apple, or you can let it go a little farther. But the deal with persimmons is there are two different types of persimmon. Now, there's not just two different types. There's two main divisions of persimmons. And then there's these other divisions. We could make this weird chart with all the divisions in persimmons. But the two main divisions are astringent and non-astringent. And it's just what it sounds like. The astringent ones, it's like your mouth is cotton. It'll pucker you up. You're just going, "Oh, this thing is horrible. This is a terrible fruit." And you're like, trying to get that taste out of your mouth. That is the astringent persimmon. Now, the great thing about those astringent persimmons is that when they go fully ripe, and we're talking, let me show you here, like this. Look at those. Those are ripe persimmons right there. If you have an astringent variety, you're letting them turn just about gelatinous. And then they taste so good. There was a depth to the flavor, like spices and these different undertones in the fruit, and it's almost pudding-like. I mean, it's just like, wow, these things are so good. And if you dry them when they're like this, unbelievable fruit leathers, that sort of thing. So the persimmon tree here, beyond the astringent and non-astringent types, it also comes in Japanese and American varieties, which are actually different species. There's Diospyros virginiana, which is the American persimmon. See here? I'm going to pull this one. There we go. That's the American persimmon. The American persimmons are generally about that big. So this is a tree that grows all the way up. This will grow all the way up into Canada. This tree is very adaptable. This is the tree that, let's say if you're beyond zone 6, you want to plant American persimmons. Now, the American persimmons is a little tricksy compared to the Japanese persimmon. The Japanese persimmon is not it's not fully dioecious, meaning it can self-pollinate. It may do better if it has another pollinator, but they produce fruit pretty easily, whereas the Diospyros virginiana, the American persimmon, comes in both male and female. So you have to have a male tree and a female tree to get fruit, which is a bigger issue. And the other thing is that these trees get really big. They can get quite big, or they could stay 30 foot. It really doesn't. I've seen them fully mature with big trunks at 30 feet tall, and then they can get bigger than that. The wood is really great. It's actually related to ebony. The wood is super, super strong, super hard. Make tool handles out of it. Doesn't split easily. Really works beautifully. Like, it would be awesome to make a guitar out of it. So there's the American persimmon. Let me show you another picture here, and then I'm going to call Rachel over, because Rachel is she'll be my fruit tree taste tester. She can share the different good things about them. This is a picture from Chestnut Hill Tree Farm. Chestnut Hill, on the top there you see some of the Japanese varieties. The top 2 rows. The middle row looks like Fuyu, or there's another a larger variety selection of Fuyu. These are non-astringent types down the middle. And on the top there, those are almost certainly astringent types with the more of an acorn shape. That's the one that I really, really like when it's fully ripe. Very, very delicious. And then on the bottom, there are some American persimmons, which are probably an improved American persimmon. Unfortunately, there were people that were saying we should breed better persimmons, better American persimmon types, and people were selecting them from the wild and breeding them and improving them, and then a lot of that research just got thrown out in favor of annual crops. J. Russell Smith, who wrote on tree crops, had urged the government to collect and improve varieties. It is what it is. Now, if you have a American persimmon tree and it's not fruiting, you may have a female tree and you may have a male tree. And the blooms will tell the difference. If it makes kind of a little round, you can actually see the ovary, which would develop into a fruit. That type of bloom, then you have a female. It's a slightly different bloom for the male. But if you can figure out which one you have, you can actually graft a branch or a few branches of the other onto it, so you actually have male and female on the same tree, and you'll have a self-pollinating tree. So it's not insurmountable. Otherwise, just plant a few of them, and then make sure you leave one male around and multiple females, and you'll be set. So with the persimmons, the Japanese varieties will grow from basically zone 6 or 7 to 10, depending on variety. And they tolerate frost fine. They do well. They're Diospyros kaki is the Latin name, in case you want to know. Kaki. That is a fantastic improved fruit. I don't find the American persimmon to be as good a fruit, but it is American, and therefore I would always plant them because they're American. I stuck seeds all over the place. Let me see here. K-Sets-G said, yummy, sweetest fruit there is. Yeah, I used to describe them in my nursery as tasting like honey and sunshine. Closest thing to a mango you can grow farther north. Brian says, any tips on how to get them to ripen faster? Generally, you wait until frost takes them, and sometimes they'll be much better, but I've also had luck just sitting them on the counter and letting them go almost gooey. Justin says, those grow wild in my area. Yeah, they grow wild all over North Florida too. And you can actually use the American persimmon as a rootstock for the Japanese persimmon, which is actually very common in the nursery business. It'll be an American persimmon rootstock, Japanese persimmon on top, because the American persimmon is tougher, stronger, and can take worse conditions. Wholesome Root says, I have wild ones, but I want the big ones. Yeah, you can get... I love them. I mean, the Japanese persimmon trees are pretty small compared to the American ones. You could keep them at like 10 or 12 feet very easily. The American persimmon, you probably could do the same, but you'd have to aggressively prune it when it's small. Lori asks, would they grow in Saskatchewan? Zone 3, possibly. Let me see. I know it goes to Zone 4. But you might be able to find a microclimate. Dear Google, please answer Lori's question. Let's see what we got here. Doesn't look like it. They go pretty far, but the native range... The native range goes 2/3 of the way up the United States, but that doesn't mean that that's as far as it goes, because there are ones going further north than that. I guess you just have to plant it and try. Miles says, for the longest time, the only persimmon I had tried was the Texas persimmon. Yeah, the Texas persimmon, I believe, is a different species. I remember looking at, there's all kinds of different Diospyros varieties. There's also the black sapote, aka the chocolate pudding fruit, which a lot of people got to taste during the Food Forest tour. That is a tropical persimmon variety. It looks like a persimmon, but it's black inside, and it's green on the outside. It's very cool. So, all right, so yeah, zones 5 to 7, but you can definitely go to 4. Tough American Rootstock sounds like a good band name. That's good. Mars Ultor says, how far north can you grow black sapote? Probably, you might be able to pull off 9B. It's pretty tropical, but when they get big, they can take some frost, but not for So Indica says, hello all, just found the show. Welcome. Nice to have you here. All right, so that's it, man. The mulberry, the loquat, and the persimmon. So I'm going to call Rachel. Rachel, you want to... Do we have another chair?
Probably out here.
I think I might have the chair that was out there.
I want to go.
We're going to have to figure out how to fit in here, so...
Yes.
9B, yeah, you can probably pull it off.
That's it. We don't have another chair.
Yeah, okay. Mars, I guess you'll have to write me, and Deanna's writing me at the same time, and then I'll connect you guys. What's my favorite mulberry? There is a, the mulberry that's my favorite, it's a black mulberry variety that Rachel and I picked from. You want me to grab it in the chair?
I don't know.
All right, Rachel's going to take this. Rachel, you tell them what my favorite mulberry type is. I'm going to go get another chair.
When we were kids, now actually, I don't know if he knows this. I actually don't remember this at all. I have no memory of this, but I have a bad memory. Anyhow, he remembers this vividly. When we were kids, he was visiting, and I said, hey, there's this tree down the road here that has blackberries on it. Want to come? We'll pick them and eat them. We do it all the time. And David said, a tree that has blackberries? He'd not, ever seen them because it doesn't actually exist. So we walked down the road, and we picked what turned out to be mulberries, and enjoyed them and ate them. And since then, David has found this tree. We've hunted down this tree and got cuttings from it, and he's propagated this mulberry tree.
I call it the Rachel mulberry.
So he has to say that that's his favorite.
It's the Rachel mulberry.
Or he's in trouble. So it may or may not.
I'm in trouble? What? No.
Yeah. There you go.
You want to sing about it?
No, but you're welcome to sing about it.
A long, long time ago, when I was just a boy, there was a tree that brought me such amazing joy. A beautiful blonde took me to the blackberry tree. That's a whole song.
That's
the whole thing right there.
there you go.
So that tree is my favorite, and actually we propagated the variety, and Scrubland Avenger has it, and he's going to be selling it from his nursery,
Right,
which is
that's
cool because it's the
want an
the
authentic-
mulberry of romance. So yeah, that's, and now I can no longer eat mulberries. I'm actually allergic to them now, so I have to cook them. If they're cooked, I can eat them, but if they're off the tree, I can't eat them anymore. But I plant tons of them anyways because the kids will eat them. And
So cobblers are
Cobbler,
really
yeah.
fantastic with vanilla ice cream. Really fantastic.
yes, with vanilla ice cream.
Way to eat mulberries.
The other one, a lot of people are saying congratulations
They are.
to you. Yeah.
Okay.
So the other tree we were talking about was the loquat tree. What do you think of loquats?
I love loquats.
All loquats. Improved,
I
unimproved.
like every loquat I've ever tasted. I like
Yeah.
their furry tartness.
They have a really nice texture.
Yeah.
Our friend Alan, the beekeeper, he said that he's responsible for planting most of them in Marion County, Florida, because he would ride around on his bike and eat the fruits all over the place and spit them by the
That is
sides of the
awesome.
road.
That's
And he's like, that's
great.
one of mine. I planted that one there. I planted that one there.
That's great.
And he did plant them on...
I don't think I've ever
Yeah.
had a large one. Like when you say improved, I don't remember ever eating
No,
it.
I don't think you got any of the...
What, like this big or something?
Well, check this out. Look, I got a picture right here. Look at those. Now you're gone.
I'm gone.
I made you disappear. Look at that. Look at that.
Yeah, I miss them. I hope that we can at some point get them here because I
have
really like them.
I have some improved loquat seeds, but it's going to take us like 6 years from seed. If you graft them, you can get them in a couple of years.
So
but
why didn't you plant them yet?
no, they're planted.
Okay.
They're planted. They're on the porch.
Okay. Because
So
it's going to take 6 years. We better get to it.
we have at least a dozen girls and a dozen boys at this point. Nancy. So.
Okay.
Let's see. The last one, other than mulberries, loquats, the last one was persimmons.
Persimmons.
Yes.
I like persimmons too.
Did you try the astringent, the long one that was like this that we had to turn into gelatin?
Yes.
Almost.
Yep.
What did you think of that one compared to the fuyu?
If I had to pick, I like the firmer ones better.
Because you can eat them like an apple.
I think I prefer the texture. The other one is very good too. And the taste is a little different. The firmer ones taste more, I heard David describing it like honey. And it does taste like honey, but I think the firmer ones taste more like honey, and the jellier ones are more almost like syrupy sweet. I think they're actually maybe sweeter.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I prefer the firmer
Yeah,
ones.
and you have this range, like you can pick them off the tree for, like weeks. The fuyus that just hang on the tree, and you can pick them off. You get a little early, it won't be as great, but it's not terrible. Whereas if you get the other ones any early at all, you've just ruined the fruit. Like you take a bite of it, it's like, you've got to really wait until it's gooey.
Yeah.
And they say that those are the best for making dried fruits out of and different things. But for processing, those are better. But you really got to make sure they're right. So.
I don't think I've had an American one when I was and been pleased that I put it in my mouth. It was
in North Central Florida, the American persimmons don't really ripen up because we don't get the frost. They don't ripen up very well, so you've really got to wait until they're really gooey. And even then, sometimes you try them and it's still had a little bit of an astringent undertone. I had better tasting ones in Georgia than I did in Florida.
And when we lived in Tennessee, you did some stuff with the persimmons. Are those American persimmons? I can't remember. Did we just pick them? Did we do something with them?
Yeah, we got them. What did we do with them? I don't remember what I did with them.
Okay.
I don't know if I was going to make a jam out of them or something. But
So why are people saying congratulations? Did you
yeah.
beans?
Yeah, it's not like I told a bunch of people.
It's not like you told me.
There's only 95 people on right now.
Oh, not as many as sometimes.
Yeah, and there's only, 61,000 subscribers on the channel. It's not a big deal.
Okay.
So, no, you're gonna get banned if you tell me to remove my wife. Are you kidding? Sheesh. I already gave my presentation tonight. So, let's see what we got here. How many minutes after the delivery did you wait to get back to work?
I'm sorry.
I think that's gonna be the last page. Arch enema. She never stops working.
Arch enema.
She was making a sandwich right after.
I was thinking the other day that hopefully I'm not going to offend anybody, but I don't think that I will. Arch enema and the other person.
Rehoboth Farms.
Yep, Rehoboth Farms. I was thinking that you two remind me of the old guys on the Muppet Show.
Yeah, good. Unsubscribe. Bye! I just removed him. All right. So.
Anyhow.
Sorry, that was fun. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
The really funny old guys on the Muppet Show because they banter back and forth, and I find them funny. So I think you guys are hilarious. So I was thinking of the other.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun seeing the air. It's funny. Like I used to try to argue with people on the threads and the comments and stuff. Like I'll get these comments. Like I got a comment on my blog today about the keeping chickens and how much money it costs to keep chickens and how it didn't work for us. And she's like, "You're not David the Good, obviously. It's so sad. You're David the Bad." And I'm like, Okay.
Well, Deanna says she's making loquat jelly for the first time.
Ooh, yes.
That is really delicious.
Yeah.
It's really,
yeah, it makes really good chutney, really good.
Do I have any suggestions?
Sugar.
I did write about it.
I think it was just sugar.
But just sugar.
When you made it, there might be something on the survival
maybe
grinder
I've done it on
about
just
it.
grapes.
Yeah.
I've written on jamming. Put every single spoon you have in the freezer so that you can
So
test the jam
you can test it, right?
ahead of time. You'll enjoy it. It's really great. It's lovely. It's good with pork as well as on toast.
Yes, pork chops and the flavor is really good. Another thing about the loquats is if you make homemade hooch and you take like whole loquats and you just put them in there and just let them stew for quite a long time, you will get a rich cherry flavor out of it. The pits actually have a little bit of cherry flavor to them, and it takes quite a while, but suddenly the liqueur will darken up. So you can make like you can add sugar to it and make like you can just do this with vodka if you wanted to, if you don't have homemade hooch, but it's great. So yeah, it's like plum jelly or what? Yeah, they're in the same family as plums. So yeah, you could just use a plum recipe and substitute loquats. It's gonna be great. No big deal. Lunatic Farmer Nathan says, "Can I plant all 3 of those in Zone 4?" No, you can zone push and probably grow the American persimmon. You will be able to grow at least some variety of mulberry, but check and see, probably the red mulberry. The loquat. The problem with the loquats is that the tree itself is cold hardy to like Zone 7. Maybe even Zone 6. You might be able to pull that off. But the blooms, they almost always bloom in like February. And so the blooms will freeze off. The blooms are not cold tolerant below like it's 24 or 26 degrees, something like that. So the blooms will all freeze off. The tree will keep growing. So you have this nice looking evergreen tree, but you won't get any fruit. So that's kind of the way it goes. So, hello, David and Rachel. Do you know if guava trees do well near the coast? I love your channel. Well, thank you. Yes, the guavas are actually really adaptable. You could probably get them pretty close to the ocean. Let me see, we're the closest. I would say, we have one growing at a place I was working at that's about 200 feet from the ocean. I don't know how close to the ocean you can get before it's a problem.
So did you make the loquat lassi? Was it good?
Yeah, it's got to be good.
That's clever.
Wargaming Lobby says, we do that liquor in Japan. Yeah, that's actually, I read that they use the loquat pits. Now, you have to be careful because apparently they have cyanide in them. You're not supposed to eat the loquat pits, but it's a very nice flavor. So, those are my 3. And if anybody has any more questions, I will sing the questions. Pastor John Elborn says, we had a huge loquat in New Orleans before Katrina. Alan says, hey gang, late again. What's your favorite variety of mulberry? We answered that about 15 minutes ago, so you'll have to rewatch the stream. Sorry about that. But I named it after my wife, 'cause I value my life.
I was teasing about that.
Yes, you can graft Asian persimmons onto native ones. It's very common. Sorry, I'm tardy. I had to try my new drill bits out. I completely understand. No, we've started propagating children in groups 5 or 6 at a time. Cold stratification. Can you put seeds in the freezer for that? I would not. I'd put them in the fridge. It's just above freezing, and you're less likely to lose the seeds if there's too much moisture content in them and they destroy the cells in the embryo. It's probably quite possible, or works well for some species, but I've only ever done it in the fridge. So, have you come across Yumberry? I heard of it because of a Bolthouse fruit juice bottle. No, I don't know Yumberry.
I've never heard of that.
I haven't heard of that
one.
one.
Are you making it up?
Are you making it up? Like stick plants. Yeah, okay, so you should have Rachel on more often. No offense, but we like her better. Thumbs down!
Well, not everybody
I like
agrees.
her better too, but... Yeah, anyhow, yeah, I like her so much I married her. So anyhow, we have power over at the land now. We did our first. I started building a small shed to do some storage, a little garden shed. So, hey, there we go. there is a loquat in New Orleans. They call the rising sun. It's been the ruin of many a poor gardener. That's not bad. All right, so yeah, twins would be awesome. So we started building today. We're gonna build some more, cut some bamboo, and it turns out that the bamboo that grows here is the common bamboo. I think it's like Bambusa vulgaris, vulgar bamboo. So that's it's not the best for long-term building, but if you soak it in water, the starches and sugars will go out of it, and it keeps a lot longer. And apparently, I was told if you cut it in the right phase of the moon, and this is the right phase of the moon for cutting bamboo, I've been told. So I am going to cut it into 8-foot lengths and just stick them in the river and let the river wash past them. Apparently, 4 weeks of soaking and the starches go out. So yeah, it's right now everything is super dry. The river is low. Everything looks bad on the land. This is not a good time to do a tour. There's not much to look at. And I haven't really hardly built anything. I built the foundation for a little shed today, but that's it. So soon, bit by bit.
Yeah, I think when the rains start coming in, then we can do at least some tree planting.
Yeah, I started moving my little plant nursery over there. I just threw some pallets down and started stacking plants over there.
Looks homier now.
Yeah. All right, guys. Catch y'all next time.
And thank you for all the congratulations.
And until next time, may your thumbs always be green. Oh, and be sure to catch me on unauthorized.tv. You can subscribe and watch. I just put like 4 almost hour-long presentations up there that you can only get there. So go check it out. I will catch you guys later. There's a link below the video. Thank you all for watching. Much appreciated. And hello to Mexico as well. You can grow a lot of great stuff in Mexico. Anyhow, catch you guys later.